All right, let's hit rewind. And not just a few years back to when Wi-Fi was a luxury. No, we're cranking the time machine all the way past GPS, colonial borders, and even before anyone coined the term Africa. We're heading to a place that was building massive city walls while Europe was still wondering if indoor plumbing was witchcraft. Welcome to the Kingdom of Benin. No, not the modern day country of Benin. We'll get to that. I'm talking about the OG Kingdom of Benin, a powerful West African empire, home to warrior kings, stunning bronze artistry, spiritual depth, and political intrigue that would make Game of Thrones look like a playground squabble. So buckle up, because this is a story of power, resistance, legacy, and yes, British people showing up uninvited. Again, picture this. It's around the 9th century. Deep in the West African rainforests, small groups of Edo people are vibing with nature. They call themselves the Bini, which translates roughly to Heavenly Party Central. Their rulers, the Ogiso, is aka rulers of the sky. Very on brand for early divine royalty. But things went south, as dynasties often do. So the Edo people send for help. And who shows up? Prince Oranmiyan. Think of him as royal IT support from the Yoruba kingdom. He fathers a son, Iweka, who becomes the first Oba, the king of Benin. And that, folks, is when this party really gets started, marking the beginning of the kingdom's formal existence. Let's take a little trip back in time to the Kingdom of Benin. No, not that Benin. Not the modern day Republic of Benin that used to be called Dahomey. We're talking about the OG Benin, Great Benin, in what is now southern Nigeria. Confusing? Just wait. History is full of curveballs. Now, back in the day, around the 11th century, the Edo people formed what would become the Kingdom of Benin, growing out of the earlier Edo Kingdom of Igodomigodo. It flourished between the 13th and 19th centuries and had its capital in Edo, now called Benin City, smack in the middle of Edo State, Nigeria. That's right, Benin City is in Nigeria, not in the Republic of Benin. Geography teachers everywhere are still shaking their heads. This wasn't just some tiny village with a cool name. The Kingdom of Benin was a powerhouse, one of the oldest and most developed states along West Africa's coast. And the Edo people, they had style. They were crafting masterpieces in bronze, ivory, and wood long before it was cool. We're talking stunning, life-sized head sculptures and bas-relief plaques that told stories better than your favorite binge-worthy show. And get this, European traders, especially the Portuguese, were obsessed. They couldn't get enough of Benin's art, gold, ivory, and pepper. But like many powerful empires of the time, Benin also took part in the darker side of history, the transatlantic slave trade, capturing and selling people from rival groups. It was a brutal business, but it was a big part of their economy. Unfortunately, things started falling apart in the 1800s. The royal family got into some serious Game of Thrones level drama, fighting over power, sparking civil wars, and weakening the kingdom. Sensing an opportunity, the British, never once to pass up a good land grab, moved in. In 1897, they invaded, burned down Benin City, and annexed the kingdom into what would later become British Nigeria. But here's the twist. While Benin lost its political power, the monarchy didn't vanish. Today, the Oba of Benin still exists, not ruling an empire, but serving as a respected advisor and cultural leader in Benin City. So, next time you hear about Benin, remember, the Kingdom of Benin and the Republic of Benin are not the same thing. And one of them was a full-on West African superpower with killer art and a dramatic history to match. Long ago, well, somewhere around the 15th century, the Kingdom of Benin hit its golden era under the rule of Oba Ewuare the Great. And trust us, he didn't earn that great title for nothing. This guy was like the ultimate urban developer and empire builder rolled into one. He expanded the kingdom's reach and gave the capital, modern-day Benin City, a serious glow up Think massive walls, impressive infrastructure, basically ancient city planning on steroids. Now, during Iwari's reign, the monarchy reached its peak. Obas was so powerful, people didn't just clap politely. They went all out with rituals to show their loyalty. And by rituals, we mean intense rituals. Yes, including human sacrifices. Let's just say fan culture back then was a little more extreme. Fast forward a few centuries and skip over some serious colonial drama. And by 1960, the area joined the newly independent nation of Nigeria. Meanwhile, the country we now call the Republic of Benin, formerly Dahomey, and not to be confused with the Benin Kingdom, also gained independence from France in the same year. And in 1975, they changed their name to honor the OG Kingdom of Benin. A classic case of, you know what, let's go vintage. Now, let's clear up a little identity confusion. Benin isn't purely Yoruba or Igbo. It's a cultural stew of several ethnic groups: Fon, Aja, Bariba, and yes, a strong Yoruba presence too. Historically, the Kingdom of Benin had influence over some Western Igbo groups, and its art and tradition show deep ties to the Yoruba. And here's a fun urban trivia nugget. Before electric lights and neon signs, Benin City was already paper lighting up the night. How? With huge palm oil-fueled lamps towering several feet tall, especially near the palace. According to Benin belief, the world wasn't just there. It was handcrafted by the great god Osanobua. Talk about divine DIY. Osanobua didn't stop at creation. He delegated, sending his 4 sons out to rule different corners of the world. A classic case of, I made this, now you kids take a cake of it. Now here's where things get a wriggle. The Obas, Benin's kings, weren't just royals with shiny crowns. Oh no, people believed they were direct descendants of Osanobua himself, as in full-blown divine bloodline. That meant the Obas weren't just respected, they were worshipped. But the god squad didn't stop there. Other gods got plenty of love too, like Olokun, god of wealth and oceans, basically the ancient version of a financial advisor and a sofa, and Osun, god of medicine and magic, your go-to for healing and hexes. People shared stories and held ceremonies to honor these gods. It was a whole divine community. The Oba was seen as divine. Literally, he was a mystery man. Only seen during big ceremonies, he was so sacred that saying he did regular human things like sleeping, eating, or even dying was once punishable by death. Yes, you really didn't want to say, I saw the Oba brushing his teeth. He also had magical powers and ran a powerful bureaucracy. If the Oba said jump, you didn't ask how high. You were already mid-air. Let's talk about the kingmakers, the Uzama Nihiron. Think of them as the Benin Kingdom's ultimate hiring committee, known as the Uzama Nihiron, or the 4 pillars, because regular legs just won't hold up a kingdom. These guys were top-tier chiefs who had the sacred job of crowning the new Oba. Kind of like the HR departments, if HR also performed sacred rituals. Much like the Oyomesi of the old Oyo Empire, the Uzama held serious power and tradition. For the hierarchy of these important people, at the top, of course, is the Oba, the supreme ruler. But the Oba doesn't run the kingdom solo. He's got a whole cast of powerful chiefs, like the Marvel Avengers of governance. Ioba, second highest title, possibly a royal prince or close family member. Think vice president with royal swagger. Edaiken, high nobility, big on administration and military matters. Iyasere, an influential advisor or counselor, royal therapist perhaps. Enogi, military and administrative powers, often tied to specific regions. Uzama, the aforementioned kingmakers, hereditary, powerful, and deeply respected. And a whole other cool characters, including Asoro, a war chief, and Olok Posere, another high-ranking chief, depending on who you ask. And there you have it, a kingdom of gods, kings, sacred traditions, and a cast of legendary figures worthy of a blockbuster movie, or at least a really epic history podcast. If you love this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch out for part 2 because the soul of Africa has so much more to reveal.